Hey everybody, I thought I would just give a little check-in about something recently that happened that was kind of cool. So as many of you know from following my Instagram or my YouTube, about 3 months ago, maybe closer to 4, I was diagnosed with something called BPPV, which is benign proximal positional vertigo, which basically is vertigo every time you stand up. And at the time of this diagnosis, I wasn't really on board with it. I was like, I don't think that's what this is. I've had vertigo many times in the past. This is not your run-of-the-mill vertigo. But they kept telling me, nope, that's what it is. I said, could it be my blood pressure medication? They said, no, it's not your blood pressure medication. You're still obese, and your whenever you come into the doctor, your blood pressure is the high end of normal. So that means your blood pressure medication is working. It's keeping your blood pressure normal. And I was like, okay, but I tried to explain to them repeatedly that I have something called white coat syndrome, where basically I get really nervous when I go to the doctor, which is understandable because as an obese woman, we're not really listened to by our doctors, unfortunately. So I had asked them to do a blood pressure check back then, and they made me buy a blood pressure cuff, and I took my blood pressure consistently. And this was like, mind you, 3 months ago. And whenever I took my blood pressure at home, it was like 116/65. So totally normal. Low, like low, not low, unhealthy low, but just like totally normal and healthy. And I took that into them, and they said, well, when you come in, it's 130/80. So therefore, basically they just dismissed me. Like, me taking my blood pressure at home was, useless. It was super frustrating, but you want to trust your doctors. You want to say, okay, you say that it's vertigo and not from my blood pressure meds. Okay, I'll trust you. Well, as I've talked about previously, the dizziness never went away. In fact, it got way worse, like way worse. And I pretty much, it got to the point recently where I was fed up, so frustrated, and didn't really know what I was supposed to do. I was like, am I just going to be dizzy for the rest of this journey? I was really worried about that. So a couple weeks ago, I finally started physical therapy, and the physical therapist, I was talking to him, and I was dizzy because he kept having me lay down and stand up. And he noticed that I was dizzy. He goes, he starts talking to me about it, and I told him about the BPPV, and he said, I don't think that's what this is. He goes, I'm a vestibular therapist, like I specialize in vertigo. He's like, that's not what this is. This isn't just run-of-the-mill vertigo. He said, I think you have orthostatic hypotension, which is when you go, sorry, my hair is crazy. Okay. Which is when you go from laying down to standing up and your blood pressure drops, and then you get lightheaded and dizzy and feel like you're going to pass out. And so because of what he said, I thought about it for a couple days, and during that couple days, it's like the vertigo got worse. It was like it was listening. And it got so bad that I couldn't bend over, I couldn't squat down, I couldn't lean over to pet my dog, I couldn't lean over to look in the refrigerator. Like, every time I stood up, I would almost pass out. And I was so frustrated because, I could barely function. So I called my doctor, and I was like, look, I know that I am, still obese, but I've lost 100 pounds, and I'm still on the same dose of medication for my blood pressure 100 pounds later. I shouldn't be on the same dose at 280 that I was at 380. So I said, I'm going to see you in 2 weeks for my checkup, my 6-month checkup. And so I said, can I please do an experiment and just stop taking my blood pressure medication for 2 weeks and see if the dizziness goes away? And he said, you know, he waffled about it and he was a little skeptical, but he said, yeah, you know, you can do that, but I want you to take your blood pressure twice a day. So because I have a blood pressure cuff, I said, fine, I'm happy to do that. I just want the dizziness to stop. So two weeks ago on Thursday, I had taken my last dose. Oh my gosh, my hair. Taken my last dose of my blood pressure med. And I started taking my blood pressure every single day. And lo and behold, by Saturday afternoon, the dizziness was completely gone, like completely gone. And every time I took my blood pressure, it was normal. It was like 104 over 65, 116 over 65, 112 over 65. Like that's what it averaged, was those numbers. Not on medication. So I was like, okay, that's the answer. The answer is I don't need blood pressure medication. And I had orthostatic hypotension caused by my blood pressure medication. So long story short, I'm off all of my medications that I was on pre-surgery. I feel so much better. And I guess the lesson here really is that, you know, listen to your body, listen, you know, to your intuition. Some doctors, unfortunately, don't listen to obese patients, no matter whether you've had weight loss surgery or not. They just kind of stick you in a box and assume things. And it really is up to you to advocate for yourself and be, you know, you're the expert in your own body. Now, I don't mean you're the expert in your own body and if you want to stop your med, you should, because that's not at all what I'm saying. You should never stop meds without talking to your doctor. But if you feel like something's wrong, advocate for yourself. Ask your doctor, hey, can I experiment? Can I stop my medication? Can I, you know, you have to stand up for yourself. You have to advocate for yourself. Don't just assume that the doctor knows everything. If I hadn't done that 2 weeks ago, I would still be so dizzy I could barely move. And now I can stand, squat, lean over, sit up, you know, all of it without any dizziness. So, yeah, just kind of fun little update. Sorry, my hair's been crazy. Sorry if the sound is weird because I'm outside walking and, you know, doing things. But thank you to everybody who has been following my journey so far on Instagram and YouTube and wherever else. It's really great to have you guys, and yeah, excited. Bye guys.